There's a new discovery. Talk to us about this new discovery.
Yeah, so NASA's released some new research that has found a new fast-moving system. Is a star and a planet that they've spotted. There is like the artist rendering of both the planet and its star, as a small star, and then the speed at which it's moving. You look at those little dots on the screen; those show you, kind of roughly what other things are moving. That long stretch shows you how fast this one's moving compared to the others. So it's a very fast-moving system. They discovered this over several years, first in 2011, and now we have a second confirmation of its existence and its speed. And more research, of course, is necessary, but this could show a new outlook on how our solar system and our universe moves through. Everything moves through it. Our solar system moves through our universe, and things move in our universe.
New image from NASA's Hubble Space Telescope shows what's nicknamed the Bullseye. Real name is Gargantuan Galaxy Leto 1313424. Did you write that down? Star-filled rings from a blue dwarf galaxy. It went through. Thanks to Hubble, scientists now believe it has 9 rings, more than previous observations have shown for other galaxies. Just gorgeous.
I didn't quite complete.
Okay, you did not? Well, multiple choice later.
Okay.
Be careful.
The Hubble telescope took these pictures of the Bullseye galaxy.
It is more than twice as big as the Milky Way.
Its rings were formed when a blue dwarf galaxy crashed through its center 50 million years ago.
We are getting a look at the recent weather conditions on Mars. NASA's Curiosity rover sent back these images of clouds on the Martian surface.
How about that? They're called twilight clouds, and that's because they're too faint to be seen in daylight, and they only come out during the early evening.
The clouds give off iridescent colors because they're made of carbon dioxide ice, and so they scatter light from the setting sun.
Wow.
It's beautiful up there, apparently.
So that's the Mars forecast.
Yes, and so those come out in the early evening while we all go to bed in the early evening. So
we do.
how that works the opposite.
When we look out into space, sometimes we see familiar things from home.
Take a close look at NASA's latest out-of-this-world image from the James Webb Space Telescope, and you'll spot something of this world. Scientists are calling this the penguin and the egg, 2 galaxies dancing around one another more than 300 million light years from Earth.
This pair of galaxies has been interacting for several hundred million years and will continue to do so.
NASA released the new image Friday to mark 2 years of scientific operations for Webb, the most powerful telescope ever launched into space. And in that time, it's made scientists reconsider what they know about the universe.
It's telling us the universe formed these big galaxies perhaps a little earlier than we thought. So that means we have to revise our theories.
Webb has now found galaxies that we are seeing as they looked when the universe was only about 300 million years old. The universe is now 13.8 billion years old. So we're seeing back almost to the edge.
But Webb isn't just looking into the past. NASA also uses the telescope to study planets orbiting other stars.
To see if there's any one of these planets that has what we would call a habitable atmosphere, one that might support life.
Scientists say the possibilities with Webb are only limited by our imaginations.
I think some of the most exciting things on the horizon are actually things we haven't thought of yet. I think we have some surprises left out there for us.
And this is a fast-moving star and planet, or
Right.
what was the wording that they called it?
They called it, it's this fastest moving exoplanet system. So an exoplanet system is any system that has a world that's outside of our solar system. So anytime we discover a planet that's outside of our solar system, it's an exoplanet. And an exoplanet system means like a star with a planet around it. And they discovered this through a thing called microlensing, which basically is observations using gravity and light and mass. So, quick physics lesson, and I'm not a physicist, but this has been explained to me by a lot of physicists, and this is kind of how it works. So if you have something like a black hole, so black holes actually have a great deal of mass, so they're really, really heavy and dense. Think, like a piece of lead. It may not be that big, but it's really dense. So these things like black holes have a lot of mass to them. When gravity is warped around it, but so is light and space. So you actually get these weird warping effects in space around like stars, and this creates this thing called microlensing where you can actually observe further in the universe. With James Webb, we talked a lot about this when the James Webb Space Telescope launched. You can observe further in the universe because light warps around things because of gravity and mass moving things. So gravity, the amount of gravity a thing of high mass exhibits will change how light moves around it. So we were able to observe this through this microlensing effect. So it's farther out there, but we can actually track its movements, which is pretty crazy that we were able to do this.
And this one in particular is going straight through the Milky Way, right?
Right. I think it's closer to the core of the Milky Way. So we're kind of on one of the arms, like further out on the arm, and they're observing this kind of closer to the core, which is kind of a good way to do it because we can actually see, we know a great deal about the stars in that area, and it's easier to track things because we do observe that direction quite a bit.
And you mentioned earlier when we were talking about this that this is not confirmed and it takes quite a bit of time to actually confirm this, right?
Yeah, when you're observing stuff in space, you usually observe it multiple times over long stretches of time. They're going to do another thing in a year to observe it, and this is going to be using the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, and it's going to help us analyze these exoplanetary systems, and they're going to observe this system again to see, is it really moving as fast as it is? We keep talking about how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
It's moving at 1.2 million miles per hour. For people who like kilometers, that's 540 kilometers a second. So pretty fast.
Way faster than us, right?
Right. Our solar system moves about half that, about half a million miles per hour, 500,000 miles per hour is how fast our solar system is moving through the universe. So this is moving about double that.
A space rock we have some history with could be on a collision course with Earth, though to be fair, it's pretty unlikely. NASA astronomers say that the asteroid Bennu has a 1 in 2,700 chance of hitting the planet in the year 2182. That's less than 1%. The asteroid is considered to be medium-sized, and if it were to impact Earth, could cause serious issues like a global winter. NASA actually visited Bennu, launching a probe back in 2016. And there, scientists found it contained some of the key building blocks of life. And we're seeing some incredible images. New video of the Earth. Firefly Aerospace, which is based in Austin, took these incredible images from its Blue Ghost lunar lander. Firefly Aerospace, hoping to be the first private company to successfully stick a landing on the moon. That's been kind of tricky. Blue Ghost expected to touch down March 2nd.
Yep. Well, my next question is, you mentioned that it's like in the center of the Milky Way. Does it have any form of destruction for us?
No.
No? Good.
No. These things are so far away. These are millions of light years, billions of light years away. That means it would take billions of years traveling at the speed of light for it to reach us. No, there's no threat at all. There's much closer threats we got to worry about. Not this one.